The world has become a very dangerous place, fraught with risk, fundamental uncertainty, and it's worth thinking about what brought us here. Because it looked for a while like things were pretty good on the surface, but as we've learned, to our horror from many times in the past, it's when things look somewhat good on the surface that a lot of tensions can be building up underneath the surface. And I think we're at a point right now where it behooves us to think about what are the dynamics at play. And it's become dark essentially because we are stuck in this very negative dynamic where economics, domestic politics, and geopolitics have become stuck in this negative feedback loop where they're bringing out the worst in each other. There was a period in the 2000s, in the 1990s, when, for instance, globalization was seen as a positive-sum game that would offset the zero-sum game of geopolitics, and that was a positive reinforcement. But now we are in a period where I think there is a negative reinforcement, and this, I think, is a very important moment, and certainly what we're experiencing now suggests that we live in this world right now where there is a negative feedback loop. Now, I don't have all the answers about how to get out of this loop, but I think it's worth keeping three policy paradoxes in mind. You might think about my book, as a very dour diagnosis of where we are, but I would argue it's also a call to action. It's a call to action along three dimensions. First, the policy paradox related to how you respond to a shock like this. The governor has correctly pointed out, and the MD has as well, that you don't want aggregate demand policies or monetary policies to respond to a shock to which they should not ideally be responding. But if you do not respond, there is a problem, which is that the most vulnerable in any economy and the most vulnerable countries are the ones that are very exposed even in the short term. So this creates a dilemma for policies. It's absolutely right that you do not want an aggressive demand response, but at the same time it can infect domestic politics and therefore have a geopolitical impact if you do not act. And I think the Deputy Prime Minister's notion of targeted policies is one approach. And let's think about the targeted policies for the vulnerable in every society, but as the Managing Director pointed out, across the world in terms of more vulnerable countries as well.